Hey guys, thank you for the 500 subs and thank you guys for the support over the past few months. I know this channel was originally made to not really be all that, but somehow it just exploded in popularity out of nowhere, and I find it a little bit crazy. Now I have two channels with over 300 subscribers. May not seem much compared to like other Need for Speed YouTubers, but considering I made this channel basically for fun, just for shits and giggles, the fact that I've reached 500 subs on this is kind of crazy. So thank you guys for the support. I do tend to read comments a lot, but even if I don't answer them, it doesn't mean I haven't read it. Sometimes I'm busy, or sometimes the comment or just really doesn't. It's not worth answering, or the answer will just be given later. In honor of 500 subs, I agreed that I'd do a Q&A and answer some of you guys' comments. I'm just gonna go in order. I originally planned to have gameplay over this, but I think it would be easier to upload it if I just do it live right in front of you. So I'm gonna answer going in order from latest to newest. Starting with this comment. So, what device does he use to play? I'm gonna assume he means Hot Pursuit. I mainly use my PC to play Hot Pursuit, obviously because I can mod it. But when I first got Hot Pursuit, I played on Xbox, and I did play on PlayStation a little bit. But I hate PlayStation, and now I moved to PC, and I never went back to Xbox apart from doing League battles. What PC build do you have? I have a RTX 3090 with a Ryzen 5 5900X CPU. I run a Samsung 980 regular for my main SSD, and for my secondary, I run a 980 Pro. I also have a 4 terabyte HDD, which is basically just for like my videos and stuff that I keep. What else? I run I think 16 gigs of not 16. I had 16 gigs of RAM originally, but I went up to 32 gigs because I needed it. I didn't really need it, but I just felt like I wanted to fill up the other RAM slots, so I did that. I forgot what speed it runs, but I think it's like 4,000 or something. I could be wrong. I have the same budget power supply, which is like an 850 watt that I originally got, and I got the same CPU, not the CPU case. I have the same PC case that I had when I originally got my PC. When I first got my PC, I was running an AMD card. Now I'm running a NVIDIA card, which I need to reinstall drivers and shit because my PC's kind of not running it like it should, but I haven't had time to. So, but that's the build I run. Is the Viper your favorite car? Or do you have other favorites? The Viper is one of my favorite cars. I originally was never a fan of the Viper. Over time, it grew on me. I originally loved the Koenigsegg Agera R, specifically the Agera R that was like the press release car, the matte white and with the red stripe, the one I made that's on my banner right now. That's the car I loved for the longest. I did have a little phase where I loved the Evo 10 with the Varus kit because I had that car in Racing Rivals. If you know what Racing Rivals is, shout out to you because that game was amazing. I had a little time where I was invested in that car, but for the longest, I've loved the Agera R, specifically in that variant. I didn't like the Agera R that's in Rivals with the 5-spoke wheels because I think the 5-spoke wheels look like fucking Snicker bars and they look terrible. It's the one with the original Agera wheels, and it has the wing. I love that car. If I could own that car, I would drive it every day probably if I could afford it. If I couldn't have that car, I would have the Viper ACR because one is more attainable, two is reliable, and three it could get like crazy amounts of power. I love that car. So if I had like a top three list, it would be the Koenigsegg Agera R, the 2011 version. Second one, Viper ACR, the Gen 5 ACR. And like third, it would be like I don't know, maybe an R34 Z Tune or a Supra or NSX. You know, they're all around the same bracket for me. But top one and two, Koenigsegg Agera and the Viper. Is it possible to create canonical liveries for new police cars or for Need for Speed Rivals? It is. We've done it. It just takes a while because the process is I have to first make the car, and because I'm not good with UV editing and stuff like that, I usually hand it off to one of my friends and he maps the liveries. And then he sends me the car back, and then I have to export the car, and then we have to check if the delivery has issues or stuff like that. And sometimes it takes some, depending on the topology of the car or whatever, it will take longer to do liveries. But the reason why we haven't done a lot of liveries lately is because I've been mostly focusing on the racer side for cars and not more or less not the cop side, because the cop side is going to take a lot longer because I have to rename the meshes so it doesn't like mess up the racer side because the game works really weird when it comes to IDs. So I have to rename the meshes. Then I have to like change a couple of the. I have to add the light bars. Then I have to map the lights to the light bar so it fits. It takes a while, and that's why I haven't shown a lot of cop cars lately. Originally, I was planning to do cops later. Like I was gonna make all the cars have black liveries, and I will do livery update later. But since CVL joined supposedly onto the modding team, he's gonna help with cop side of things. So you may or may not see more police cars depending in the future. For me, mostly, I work on the racer cars because I don't have to deal with sirens. I don't have to deal with deliveries and stuff like that. But we do plan to give most of the cars, if not all, like canonical liveries, like the SCPD liveries or the Rivals liveries, because in Expanded and Enhanced, we planned for it to be like basically a prequel to Rivals. So like basically, it would be Zephyr before it becomes like Zephyr in Rivals, if that makes sense. Like this would be if you think about it, like from Need for Speed Carbon and Most Wanted, like how the M3 GTR carries over, it would be kind of like that. It would be like a prequel, kind of like that. Last one. What do you think about Marussia B2? I'm Russian. Had to ask about sports car. We have a lot of Russians here. It's actually shocking how many Russians I've met in the last year. I do like the Marussia. I'm not a huge fan of it. I was only introduced to it in Most Wanted 2012, and I forgot that car was even in Rivals. I don't think I ever drove it in Rivals. I did hear about the backstory behind that car. I do know the B1 looked like a Unity web car. I think it actually did get turned into a Unity web car. But I think it looks decent. I don't like the engine they used. I thought when I was a kid and I played the Marussia, I thought it had a V8. It looks like it would have a V8, but it doesn't. It's like a fucking Nissan V6. Apart from the engine, I like it, but I wouldn't put it in the game, if that makes sense. Like I like it. I would kind of sort of drive it around if I had it. I wouldn't go out of my way to convert it to put it in the game, if that makes sense. I just don't like it that much. But I think it's great. I think it looks decent. It just needs a better power plant. I think it should have been put into production. It's kind of tragic. It never was. It's usual story cars like that. Good job, keep it up. I love watching you develop the channel and your mods develop. Thank you. Next comment. What's your favorite motorsport? Great work on the mods too. Keep it up. I'm gonna assume he's talking about Forza Motorsport. I think. If not, I think he might be talking about which type of racing I prefer. If it's which type of racing I prefer, like motorsport type, I would say GT3 cars. I love GT3 cars and how they look and sound. Except for like now they're kind of getting a little weak because they're all turning to hybrids and shit. But before that, I love GT3 racing cars. I'm also a fan of LMP1 cars, but I don't go out of my way to watch either of them. I just kind of watch them when I decide to make a car for a game. Not you. I know you didn't ask this, but my favorite GT3 car from the motorsport is the BMW M6 GT3. That and the Bentley, love those cars. That was the car. Those were the cars that got me interested into GT3. If you're talking about Forza though, I only played. I think I played only two Forzas. I think it was FM5 because I played like the demo or whatever, and I played FM7. Never been a fan of Forza Motorsport. I did like FM7 because it worked well with my wheel setup, but that game had a lot of issues, like a lot of issues per se, and it was kind of like really annoying that I couldn't just build a car like Horizon and just throw in a race. I had to like get limited and everything, so it was really annoying. Well, apart from that, I liked playing FM7 on the wheel, but I wouldn't go out of my way to play it again unless I had like friends that would play it. Thank you for the comment. Next comment. Do you have a sports car in real life? If not, what would you like to get? Doesn't have to be six figures. Unfortunately, I don't have a sports car in real life. I would like to think I have a sports car, but I don't. I drive like a regular economy car. I did put some modifications. We did headers. We did a full-on exhaust. We did I did I did I did a spark plug swap from like iridium or whatever to copper. It makes like more power or whatever. Also did a cold air intake. And we did rims, a slotted and drilled brake rotors. They did a stiffer rear sway bar, but it's at the end of the day, it's an economy car. It barely makes like 200 horsepower, so I would never call it a sports car. But I sure as hell drive it like it is. I would love to get a sports car. I would love to get a rear wheel drive manual car, like an ISF. But obviously, ISFs are expensive. If money wasn't an issue, I would. If money was an issue, obviously I'd get a Koenigsegg, hands down. But then again, that's a hypercar. So if we're gonna say sports car, I don't think I could say Viper either because I believe that's a supercar. So I think I would get. I think now this is an interesting question. I think I would get an Evo. I love the Evo personally. I would love to get a Subaru Hawkeye, but the problem is the Hawkeyes, like any Subaru, it's just they don't last. An Evo would last if you take care of it. The Subaru won't. So I would have to say I would go with an Evo. If I couldn't get an Evo, I would get an Acura TLX. I love the new like the 2022 TLXs. I love the look of them. I would get that with like the honeycomb wheels and the nice like I don't know what color blue it is, but it's a nice metallic blue. I would get that, and I would get that with like a downpipe or whatever, because it's like a V6 twin turbo. Would get that with a downpipe and a tune, 100%. I am saving to get a Cobalt, get a SS kit on it or whatever, and build it to like maybe 400 horsepower. But that's when I get enough money. I'm hoping I can land a little better paying job soon, so I could like save more money for that. But that's in the works. But right now, I don't have a sports car now. Next comment is 2BO is 2B canon? Yes, and I will post a picture here in this video. I don't have it in front of me, but you will see the picture. It should be on the screen. That is proven canon, and anyone who says otherwise is lying. Do you prefer the 918 Spider concept study or the final design? Both, actually. Well, it's interesting. So I didn't know the concept study existed until Hot Pursuit 2010. I never liked the disc wheels. I thought they were interesting, but I don't like them compared to the final one, if that makes sense. Like it looks interesting because when I think of the word concept study, I think of like, what the fuck are these wheels? I don't know. When I see the wheels and I see the disc, it makes me think of like them being made in the lab. It's like some weird imagery. If I was offered to drive one, well, actually, I'd probably still drive the concept study just because it's a concept car, and like, who gets to drive a concept car? But if I was given to like the choice to own one or drive one for the rest of my life, I would take the 918 Wisiach package, the one I made. I would take that. I think it looks cool. It's got all the flair, the regular 918, but with a little bit more aggressive looks because of the carbon on it. I would take that. But if it was like a car, I would love to like if I got the offer to test drive. I would test drive the concept study because I think it would be really cool to drive a concept car. But to own, I would drive a Wisiach package of the 918. Next comment. From your perspective, how much progress has been made on E&E, and is it close to being released? So the interesting thing about E&E is, it was not intentioned to be a huge mod. It was originally going to be JDM V3 with some different events themed around the cars or whatever. The more I got into it, the more I'd be like, we could change this, or like, we should improve on this and stuff like that. So it kind of just spiraled out of control. And then on top of that, I was like, you know, I had a realization midway through, like, Hoppers 2 is kind of a game that doesn't really, it's really more about the sports cars and the hyper cars. It's not really about tuning per se. Like, you can't upgrade the cars in Hot Pursuit. You have wrap support, but that's pretty much the extent of customization. So, I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, it would make more sense to have more supercars, to have them mods deemed more around the supercars than the tuner cars, because the game is more about that supercars. So I would feel kind of stupid for taking a game that's about supercars and driving the hottest exotic cars and the beautiful coastal scenery, and replacing them with fucking tuner cars. Once I had that realization, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take some of the cars from GDV3, like the LFA, cars that people would like to have in Hot Pursuit, but wouldn't like take away from the experience. And I was gonna do some other cars I was gonna plan on for like a Euro Pack V2 because I was in the works too. But I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just combine it together and make one mod. The Viper I made was a part of an American pack I had planned, but I was like, I'll throw that in the mod too. I remember I teased the Vipers way back, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make like three different Vipers. I'm gonna make it like an American mod or whatever, and that never happened. I was like, I'll just throw it in because I already made the cards. I'll just update them for the mod. Um, and I got working on it. Halfway through, I lost like half my team, like a lot of like for example, the person that was doing textures and stuff, he had to go to school. He was doing testing. The other person just flaked on me. I don't know what he was doing exactly, but he had things I guess to do or more important to do. So it was basically me and I would say Scare, but Scare also was kind of like inactive for a long time. So it's kind of me working on it for a couple of months, and then slowly, gradually, people got less busy, and I was able to get some help again. So like Scare's been a big help with doing the events. He makes the add-on events. He's been a help with that. He was the one that taught me event editing actually. Like he was the one that showed me, hey, you can edit it through this file, and or you could do this with Cheat Engine, stuff like that. And then after that, I was just experimenting with how far I could like change events and stuff like that. So, but I will give credit to him. He's been a big help. He does the add-on events. Every add-on event you see in this pack was done by Scare. As for I just do the details of the events, like the difficulty and stuff. That's all me. But like getting the event to load in game and actually work, that's Scare, and that's no easy feat. So credit to him. In terms of progress, it's kind of hard to judge because within every month that we work on expanded and enhanced, there's like more shit we could do. Like back before when it was still JDM V3, I didn't have plans to like change the difficulty of AI or anything. But like the more I learned about this game, it's like the further we can go with it. So like every month, even though we do like a bunch of like cool shit and we post it on the channel, we kind of also get a step back because we discover like, oh, we could do this. Why don't we apply this to other events and stuff like that? Like for example, balancing data that took like a couple of months to figure out, and that was also because of the help of a modder that was planning to add cops to free drive. So when I was working with him, we figured out like, oh, this is the parameters for AI. We could edit these, and that makes the AI act like this. So that took a while, and then I had to once I was able to fix the difficulty to be like somewhat challenging on the event. It's like okay, now I got to apply this to other events. Then I got to scale it. I got to test it, and I got to make sure it's not too hard, so it's not impossible. I got to scale it so it's not like ridiculously slow like the original game and stuff like that. The sort of stuff like that that makes the progression a little bit slower because it's like, okay, well, this is cool. We can do this. I didn't know we could do this. We should include this in the mod. Well, that's going to take a bit longer to include in the mod. At the same time, if we don't include in the mod, then it's kind of less, features. Because I don't want this to be just a, simple mod pack. It's like, oh, well, the cars are cool and all, and the difficulty's cool and all, but that's it. It's the same experience. I don't want it to be like that. So that's why progression has been slow. I expect it to be released in around 2025, depending on how things go. We're supposedly getting a tool for HPR so we can mod it easier. No, the tool will not be public for obviously for reasons that people would abuse it, but I don't know because the creator might release it anyways. I told him not to release it. Other people told him to not share it with the community yet until online is dead, but he might. I'm not sure yet. But if I do get my hands on the tool, I haven't yet, but I've helped them work on it. And if I do get my hands on the tool, we will be able to do a lot more with this game. Like for example, cutscenes and stuff. String editing might be easier. I mean, we already have a string editor, but it might be easier to like swap audio files and stuff like that. We might be able to do new intros. We might be able to add new car unlocks because HPI has like a really cool feature that HV10 doesn't have, where you can unlock cars through events. So we were planning on making it so you can unlock boss cars through events, and then you could. It feels more rewarding progression per se. All that stuff hasn't been implemented yet, and that's why it's taking a while to get stuff done because we're waiting on the tools, and we're still finding stuff that we could do with the game. We're also changing the environment, and that takes stuff to it takes a while to figure out what we can do with the environment and how we can make it better, stuff like that. But it's the process of modding a game that's not like really been modded before, like HPR. Trust the process. Do you think it will ever be possible to add new cars to Hot Pursuits that replacing existing ones? I've already explained this. I already said this in the comment, but I'll say it here. You can you can do add-on cars. We haven't done add-on cars yet because the problem with add-on cars is if you use them in online, you'll basically crash the other person's game. So you don't. That's why we don't want to do add-on cars. CVL has already demonstrated in his video that add-on cars are possible. We did want to do add-on cars for the mod, but the problem is there's no way to really implement them without disabling online, and even then, people can bypass it if they're smart enough. So we need to. We're probably gonna again, we haven't implemented that, and if that's too much, then we might not just do add-ons at all until the game online is shut down or whatever. So it may be sad or boohoo, but that's probably going to be the plan. Will cars from E&E have wrap support? Yes, they will. Before they weren't. Wrap support was going to be coming after the release, but since the exporter got updated and we can do animations now, I figured I'd just give the cars wrap support. Damage support will be coming later because takes a really long time to do because you have to go in game and test how the damage works. If you weight paint a bumper wrong, it will be like it looks really fucked up if you paint a bumper wrong. I'll show a picture on screen now. If you weight paint a bumper wrong, it will look really bad. So you gotta like adjust the paint, and then also with bones, you gotta add the bones, and then you gotta weight paint certain areas, and the game like uses like 60 different bones around the car, and it's like really annoying. If you try to like half-ass it, it will look weird when you crash from the front, and then the back is damaged and stuff like that. So it takes too long to test the damage, which is why we're just gonna do it later because it takes too long to assign damage to cars and make sure it works correctly. But they will have wrap support. They just won't have damage support until later. Um, some actually to add to that, some cars won't have wrap support due to how the game loads convertible cars. So like convertible cars, for example, have locked slots for like windows and stuff because obviously in the base game the cars don't have windows on the side, so the game doesn't allow you to enter wrap editor with that. So some cars won't have wrap support for that just because of that reason. Other cars, like for example the Apollo, or the Veneno, for example, they won't have wrap support because you shouldn't be putting wraps on the Veneno. I don't know why you would do that, but in general, the tuner cars, specifically the tuner cars, will have wrap support. Some of the hypercars will have wrap support. The Gira R won't have wrap support because of how the wrap works. I had to make a custom wrap for the car to have the red stripe and stuff like that. So I won't be adding wrap support for that because I don't want to fuck up the car mesh. Simple as that. You know, again, boohoo. You shouldn't be adding wraps to a Gira. I don't know why you do that, but 90. I'll say a good 90% of the cars will have wrap support. When it comes to the Gear R VRT Port and Hot Pursuit, why can't the DeVault Aguirre rims be replaced? Is something that crashes the game file? I don't know where he got that from. I never said the Aguirre rims couldn't be replaced. They can be replaced. I just don't want to replace them because the Aguirre rims, in my opinion, the Aguirre rims look better than the five spoke. I never liked the five spoke Aguirre rims, so I think they look like fucking Snickers bars. They look like if you attach Snicker bars to wheels. I don't like them, so I use the default Aguirre rims, which I think look way better. But again, everyone has a preference. That's just my preference, so I don't replace them. Also, it makes more sense to use the in-game wheels cars because the in-game wheels have all the proper textures and stuff like specular and all that. And whereas if you take it from a game like CSR2 or Rivals, you don't have those textures because the game doesn't use those. So you'll just not have the texture. So and also it will be heavier on the game because obviously higher quality, higher poly model equals more data equals more weight on the file. So if you use vanilla wheels, you have less weight in the file, and you won't have to deal with all the problems of like assigning the textures and stuff. Easier to use the regular Aguirre rims, especially when they already have the spokes I like. I'm having trouble drifting the McLaren F1. Any tips? Watch a how to play the game tutorial. There's a video by Goliath. There's a video by Gummies. Don't watch the Zombie Head one because Zombie Head is fucking trash at the game. Don't watch him. But watch Gummies video and watch Goliath's video how to drift in the game. If you can learn from what I heard from Anks, who is good at the game, if you learn how to drive the McLaren F1, if you learn how to drift it properly, you basically learn the rest of the cars in the game. It's a really complicated car to get down, but once you get it down, you're pretty much set. Me personally, I'm not good with F1, so I wouldn't take any advice from me. I would listen to Goliath, Gummies, or watch an Angs video, see how they drifted, practice it in free drive, and then just keep going at it. What is your favorite activity to do when not modding? Driving. I like driving a lot. Usually I work a lot. When I'm not modding, I'm usually either working or I'm doing like other IRL stuff, like errands and stuff. But I like driving. I love taking my shitty economy car. Like I said, I did a few upgrades to it. I like taking it on the back roads and pretending I have a race car. and almost killing myself in the process. But it's fun. It's fun to me. I don't do it a lot because gas is expensive. I don't make a lot as is. Like I make a good amount, but I don't. I want to make more. I don't make enough where I should be like wasting gas like that. Especially because I got to pay for a lot of other bills. Just perks of being an adult, I guess. If I'm not modding, my favorite pastime is literally just driving. I love night driving. I love again taking my car on the back roads, pushing it to the limits, stuff like that. I just love driving. If I ever got like a supercar or anything like that, that's probably what I would be doing instead of modding this game. That's all. But yeah, that's really all I do. And if I'm not driving, I do cooking, but again I'm not like a big fan of cooking, but I do that also, or I play a different game. Also like to add to that, I also do a little bit of sim racing. I haven't touched my sim racing setup in a while, so I don't know if that counts. Country of cars are the best? I don't know. That's a good question. I would say Sweden's got it covered because Sweden's got fucking Volvo and they got Koenigsegg. So, but Germany also has like a strong showing. They got Mercedes and BMW and Porsche. Porsche is crazy. But I couldn't say one country has it better than the other. Every country has its strength. If I had to pick cars from one country the most, it would be Germany because they have the Autobahn and they have way bigger variety in cars. But if money wasn't an objection though, I would pick Sweden because Sweden's got the fucking Volvo, which is insane. They make great cars, like great sleeper cars, the Polestar car specifically, and Koenigsegg because Koenigsegg. Or I could say America, but I don't like Ford. Ford's cars are fucking shit. Chevy's cars are slow, and Dodge only has the Viper because the Hellcats are fucking boats. So I couldn't really say America with a straight face. How did you become interested in modded HBR? That's a good question. I never actually liked HBR from the beginning. I thought it was a waste of money. I thought anyone who bought remastered for $40 is a clown. They still are clowns. If you buy remastered for $40, you're a clown. The game is not worth $40. The game's not even worth 20. The max I spend for this game is like $10. Besides the point, I was originally a Need for Speed Carbon modder. Angst, I believe, I would like to say Angst and Enthuse put me onto the whole modding thing because they did their SLR mod, and I was like, you know, this game doesn't look that bad with when you put modded cars into it. I would love to try doing that. And I didn't get the exporter until like early 2023. Once I got the export and I found out that you can like fucking export CSR2 models and the game wouldn't fucking die like it would with Carbon, I was basically off to the races. I always wanted like my own cars in Hot Pursuit. Like for example, the Viper that I showcase a lot. I've always wanted that in Hot Pursuit. I couldn't. I made one for Need for Speed Carbon. I made a Viper mod for Need for Speed Carbon, but I was like, I really want it for Hot Pursuit. So, and the one Angst made was garbage, and then the one Enthuse made was also garbage. I was like, yeah, I want to make my own. So I kept going at it. I tried making mods. My first mods are really fucking shit. I'll probably put a picture up in this video. But my first mods are really shit. Mostly because I'm not gonna say who, but it's a person I've already mentioned before. They gave me a list of materials that aren't the correct materials, so they basically gave me an incorrect list on purpose, so I couldn't make good cars. So I had to like basically remake the list myself from like trial and error to find out which materials look the best, which materials don't, stuff like that. And I had to basically rebuild my list. And then after that, I just kept learning as time go on how to improve my models, how to do emissive textures. Enthuse, I had to credit Enthuse because Enthuse was the first to tell me how to do how emissive mapping works for the game. And after that, I was basically figuring out how that I could improve my emissives. A lot of people shit talked my mods at the beginning, and credit to them because if it wasn't for them shit talking the fuck out of my mods, I probably would have never went to improve my mods. But the more criticism I received, the more I was like, I should improve this and stuff like that. And it got to a point where I can put a car together and it looks pretty decent. It's not exactly 100% vanilla, but I would say, considering how far I've come from my earlier models, I'd say I came pretty far. Um, and I'd like to say I passed it on to CBL, although CBL is his own person. He did take the initiative to learn on his own way. But in the terms of how I got into it, it was basically mostly Enthuse and Angst. And Dudes was the one who originally taught me how to do modding and stuff like that, and then I learned the rest pretty much by myself. And then when I became friends with CBL, I mostly passed on that teaching to him. Whatever I learned, I would pass on to him. Sometimes he would find stuff that I wouldn't find or wouldn't think to find, and we both basically learned off each other, and we're still doing that now. Difference is I have a lot more people willing to talk to me when I ask questions about modding versus when I first started out, where no one wanted to tell me anything and I had to basically go fuck myself and go figure it out yourself. But to get to the main summarize the point though, it was mostly because I could put high quality models in the game and the game wouldn't die. Unlike where I modded Need for Speed Carbon, I was forced to use like Real Racing 3 models because otherwise, if I used CSR models, the game couldn't handle it. So, next question. What do you find most interesting in regard to Hot Pursuit Remastered modding? Well, there's a lot. Where I don't even know where I begin. I would like to say material editing. I find it interesting that you can edit the material of specific cars. Like you don't edit like in Need for Speed Carbon. You have a set material and it looks like that for like every car. But like when Hot Pursuit, you could specifically edit materials for one car, and it could be different material settings compared to another car. That's pretty interesting to me. Another interesting thing is how the wheel system works in this game. Wheelbase modding is weird.
I like the smell, freshly washed hair.
Also, how the ride height works. It doesn't work like a normal game. It's like you have to edit certain values to make the car lower, and it's really weird. Like doing anything with the car body in this game is really weird. Also, what's interesting, car select works. Like specifically
Coconut scent, with 99 cents. I met a guru on a white sandy beach. He said the future of sound.
and I think that's interesting. And I also find it crazy when people be like, "Oh, the copper venting handles better than the fucking racer venting." That's not true. The copper venting is quicker than the racer venting because of the. It's not. It doesn't handle any different. They both have the same exact handling. It's just that it gives better acceleration. It has nothing to do with handling. But I find that to be the most interesting part. And I think there's some other stuff, but I can't. It hasn't come to mind yet. Either that, or I probably can't disclose it. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things behind the scenes of the game. Do you play Assetto Corsa? I did in the past. I believe there's a video up on this channel somewhere actually, me driving in Assetto Corsa, driving a Viper. I don't play it anymore because I kind of got bored of the game, and I don't. If I was gonna play it again, I probably wish I had a VR or something like that. But I don't really have like a high budget setup for Assetto Corsa, so like I have a shitty Logitech setup, and Logitech is pretty trash compared to Thrustmaster. I didn't know that when I got the setup, so if I were gonna play it again, I'd probably play with like a Thrustmaster setup. But I have no interest in playing Assetto Corsa for now. Last one. Are you from a Need for Speed player league? I was in league. I'm still in league. I got banned a couple of times because I was talking some shit. It was well deserved. I don't feel bad because the people I was talking shit to were morons. But no, I'm in league right now. I did participate for like 3 seasons or so. I was not MVP of those seasons. I was top 10 season 5. Season 6, I didn't really care at this point. I was kind of burnt out. But yeah, I've been in the league. Let's say I originated there. No. Busy often. Yeah, I'm busy often a lot. I'm usually working either on this game or I'm working in real life or I'm handling IRL stuff. Does your channel? I don't know, bro. You gotta type this better. Does your channel use for money or just for YT membership in the future when you reach 500 subs? I think he meant to ask if I'm gonna use it for money or just for. I don't know what he means. I don't know what he means. If you're asking if I made this channel to monetize it, I'm not. I'm pretty sure you have to get like on average of like 10,000 views or whatever on like a video or so to even make money. and I curse a lot on my videos and stuff like that. And on top of that, I don't really put that much effort in most of my uploads. Usually, I record this and then upload it. It's not really a full fledged channel like for example, what I used to upload on my other one, Interextated. Like it's not fully edited uploads. Like for example, some of my videos are edited. Other ones are just straight. Like I recorded this, I stopped the recording, I uploaded it, and be like, look, this is what happened. So I don't have any plans to monetize it. I don't think it will ever be monetizable. Even if they gave me like the chance to join AdSense, I don't think it would ever be monetizable because the content is not on that level to an extent, and also because HPR is not a popular game to begin with. No one's really gonna be watching on the level where I could make money on it off it. I just do it for fun. Kids nowadays suck. I don't know what he means by that. Yeah, I do hate kids nowadays, though. They're pretty annoying. I have a lot of young people watching my channel. Sorry, I do get a lot of stupid requests from them, but they're kids. You know, they're young. They don't know better, so I don't really blame them. You know, when I was a kid, I was very stupid too. I probably annoyed a few people in my time. Um, but if you're talking about like TikTok kids, yeah, they suck. And I guess that's the last question. So once again, thank you guys for the support. Hopefully this support continues. Hopefully I can keep uploading stuff. Hopefully I can get this mod done by next year, or even at the end of this year if that's possible. But probably not due to how things are progressing right now because we're still waiting on tools and other findings. But you know we're still working on it, and we plan to keep uploading. You know whatever we find something new. I do have a other upload in plans where the AI gets broken certain in a very specific way that I don't know how, but somehow the AI got broken on a race, and you know it resulted in really interesting behavior. I haven't edited that video yet, but I need to, and I'll probably upload it after this when I get around to it. But you know if that doesn't happen, I'll probably just upload whatever I make in the future. I think that's about it. I don't really think I have anything else to say. This is why I don't really do voiceovers. 'Cause I'm really terrible at ending these videos. So I guess goodbye. Thank you for watching.